Child mortality rates in Nigeria have dropped significantly from 214 deaths per 1,000 live births in 1990 to 109 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2015. This is a reflection of Nigeria's determination to improve the health indices of its children. Of these deaths, a combination of vaccine-preventable diseases like pneumonia, measles, and diarrhea account for about a quarter of all childhood mortality in Nigeria. Immunization, therefore, remains one of the most effective public health interventions for achieving better health outcomes for children under the age of 5.
More effort is needed in the rural areas if we are to succeed, and the two constructs we're interested in is coverage and equity. By equity, we mean that regardless of where a child is born, we must ensure that children everywhere in Nigeria, rural, urban, from rich or from poor homes, from educated or from non-educated homes, have access to vaccines. Only 25% of children are fully immunized, and even that 25% does not reveal the true picture because there's a lot of heterogeneity. For example, there's a huge gap between the Northwest and the Southeast. Northwest is 14%, Southeast is 81%. Rural dwellers record 25% coverage as against 62% in urban areas. By wealth quintile, we have 7% amongst the lowest and 80% amongst the richest. 12% coverage among children whose mothers have no education compared to 87% among children whose mothers have more than secondary school education. So if you do the math, you find that children in rural areas are more than 2 times less likely to be vaccinated than children in urban areas, and that's not acceptable. Sometimes the health facilities are very far from rural areas, and in such cases, if parents can't come to the health facilities, it is actually the responsibility of the health facility to bring the services to the people. But in order for them to do that, they have to have funding for the outreaches. If they are going to use motorcycles to get to the rural communities, somebody has to pay for the fuel. The supply of services to rural communities really has to be strengthened, and that's why we need a lot of advocacy, both to the federal and to the state governments, to increase the funding for immunization and increase particularly funding for operations, for getting the services out there to the people. On the demand side, there might be some cultural norms that serve as barriers to immunization, and these may be more likely adhered to in rural areas.
Kudin mota da zai je kai yaron gida nan dutsen ke riga kafe in gani tafiya na ta ba kowa zai iya ta ba zuwa asibitin nan gaskiya yana da matsala tunda dai mutum in ba sana'a mijin shi ba karfi gare shi ba da zai bashi kudin da zai je ya dawo ba to dole ne kana ji kana gani ka hakura to yanayi ne dai na jama'a kin san kala kala kowa da irin ra'ayinsa
da wani idan kuma aka ja ka riga kafe irin kukan nan da yaro yana yi sai su ce su ba za su ƙara mai da shi ba gobe.
Wasu kan ba sa fita komai matsala sai sun yi kwana 40 din nan sanan su fita. Don suna tunanin kashe kuɗin kar su je wasu ce ba su samu ba su dawo su ce sun je asibiti ba su samu ba su dawo sai su watsar da abun ma.
Ciwon nan ciwon polio mutane suna ganin cewa wai iska ne. Yawanci mutane suna ɗaukar cewa iska ne ba shine mai shanya hannu da kafa din nan ba haka ake fada. Akwai kuma inda ma ake dukan yan rigakafi. Akwai inda ake bin su ba akwai masu yawo gida-gida ba da dan wani boro a baya to akwai inda ake dukan su akwai wata yarinyar mu a Sokoto har targade aka musu wajen zuwa rigakafi.
John Hopkins International Center for Vaccine Access, IVAC, is supporting a network of women advocates who are working to increase the uptake of vaccines in hard-to-reach communities, as well as addressing the challenges and the barriers of routine immunization.
I'm an advocate for vaccine access. My job is to make sure that with my voice, with anything that I do, vaccines get to those people that need them. We search out for communities that refuse immunization, and this was one of them. They did not believe in it because immunization itself is like taking a drug for an illness that hasn't happened. And then you're telling them that it may happen in the future, so you want them to take medicine for it now so that it doesn't happen in the future. And for them, it doesn't make any sense. Are you calling the illness? Are you telling the illness to come? Culturally, there's no place for it. There's no place for immunization in the culture.
Wannan zazzabin me ake cewa abun bakon daura sai a ce aljanni ko malaria sai a ce aljani. Ba zan manta ba akwai abin da faru a garin nan. Matan wani mutum a can tana haihuwa. Seriously jikin ba kyau. An kira an dauko ta an zo an kama wani ta shiga mota za a tafi General Hospital. Sai wani mutum ya zo ya ce mai gidan Alhaji ka bar kai ta asibiti. A dawo da ita gida zan je in yi magani aljani ne kawai. She then died that day. Bata wuce ran ta mutu. Amma da an kai ta asibitin ta yi da ba za ta mutu a ran ba.
This is the Mengwa with me, the chief of the village, and he has been very supportive in our immunization programs. The traditional ruler, he doesn't give permission, he can't even do anything in the village. Because it's when he gives the permission, then the people in the village accept. He was the first person that gave us his children for immunization. He set the pace. He gave us all his children, all, the ones that were of that age, and we took them for immunization and came back. Even when we took them to a periodic association, they had a program and they wanted to see the children of Damangaza. Why were some not immunizing? Why were some immunizing and all that? He gave us his whole family to go, and then he set the pace. And that pace that he set helped us to carry on. So you need traditional ruler to at least give you the go ahead and say, okay, you have my permission. So that when the people come to him to say, so person is here, and they say, yes, she has my permission, she's okay, she's not going to kill our children. She's going to do something that is good. She wishes us good. She doesn't wish us bad. Some of them, their husbands give instruction. We also notice that when the husband has given instruction that do not take my child for immunization, and then the man goes to work. So when you come to take the children for immunization, they refuse, and there are so many of them. So we had to re-strategize and say, okay, let's bring the men in. You can't do any work without bringing the men. You can't say you want to do a women's program, you want to, the men have to come in, because if they don't give their approval, nothing works. So we brought the men in. So they are part of the committee now that decide when to go for immunization, when not to go, So they agreed. And immediately the men were sold on it, and they believed in the cause. Everything became easy. Now I can enter any house, every house. No house is barred from me. You can tell the woman anything. The men have given instruction. If vaccine network comes, anything she says you should do. She is for good. Because they've seen the results. They've seen that the mortality rate has gone down.
Basiru was diagnosed with polio 5 years ago. His mother, Goma, now understands that oral polio vaccine could have saved her child from this fate. Goma has now joined the Women's Advocacy for Vaccines Access, WAVA, and goes from door to door raising awareness on the importance of routine immunization in her community.
Yanda ya fara zazzabi baya sauka, ya kai sati 2 da zazzabi. Mun kai shi nan hayu. Sai muka tafi na gargajiya, muka je muka zauna a na gargajiya satin mu 3 ba kwana 2. Muka dawo. Na gargajiya an ba mu maganin gargajiya. Da gari da na itace aka ba mu. Duk a can ma muka zauna muka yi maganin. Da baya ma ko zama tashi zaune. Na koya mishi zama kuma ina tafiya ne abin ya same shi, yana gudu ko ina. Yana dab da yayi. To daga nan ina ta neman magani in je nan. To muna ta magani shi kawai ta tsotse ta koma haka. Muna ta magunguna. Dai gashi nan.
In order to address some of these challenges with immunization, an organization called Women Advocates for Vaccine Access was formed. WAVA. WAVA is a platform that brings together existing women's groups, either women-focused organizations or women-led organizations, to raise their voices together to call for increased funding for immunization and to go into communities and educate the communities about the value of vaccines so that parents can take their children for vaccination. Many of these organizations in WAVA have access to key influencers at both the national and the state level. And so what they do is they take advantage of their access to send the message across to the decision makers that need to hear about these issues. Beyond the high-level advocacy, one of the most exciting things about WAVA is the ability to mobilize from the grassroots. Because these WAVA-affiliated groups are in every state, it becomes the ideal platform to mobilize action across the country. During the International Women's Day celebration in 2015, WAVA members came together to discuss the funding gap for immunization in Nigeria. We looked at how much money was needed to be raised by the federal government to meet the funding gap, and then decided that there's really a need for stronger advocacy to let both the decision makers know, as well as the general public be aware that we are facing this funding gap that could pose a huge challenge for the immunization program. We want to encourage innovation, and so we're going to put out a small grants program where WAVA members can get funded for ideas that might help push advocacy even further. This small grants program will be competitive. WAVA members will send in entries that will be judged by a selected panel of credible public health advocates who will then decide what the winning entries are.
To gaskiya mutanen WAVA din da try suna kokari yadda ya kamata. Kokarin da suke yi sukan dauko doctors and nurse su zo anguwan nan ayo mutane rigakafi. Sukan dauka kuma su zo sa motoci a dauki mutane daga garin nan a kai su asibiti a je a yi musu a dawo da su. Wani lokaci har a ba su kudin abinci ma. So da try suna kokari ba kadan ba. Dan ko a cikin watan nan ina ga sun zo kaman so uku. In fact suna da kokari kawai mutanen nan. Domin da suna da fushi da ba za su sake zuwa ma, wani suka zo ma zagin su zai, wanda zai ga musu maganan banza, wanda zai ce kaza.
Gaskiya sun da sun ga idan yanzu yin ake rigakafi da yawa a cikin gari. Da za ki ga yawanci wani ƙauyen ma in ka je ba sama mai rigakafi ba, amma yanzu gaskiya ko ta ina ne rigakafi ya riga yayi yawa, birni da ƙauye duka.
Wallahi wata bata da kuɗin mota, bata da mashin, da kafa za ta je ta taka ta je ta rigakafi ta da. Ni dai a iya gani na a wannan ƙauyen suna ƙoƙarin rigakafi. Wasu mazan su ba sa yadda, to amma yanzu ana wayan masu da kai suna ƙoƙarin yadda. Ko a jikin ma wanda suke samun rigakafin da wanda ba sa samu ana samun bambanci.
I feel good, I feel great, I feel useful. I feel that for once in my life, I'm doing something right. And the day that the Bengwa said I'm a miracle worker, that can you imagine that since I came to the village, children don't die again. But I just realized that, yes, immunization works. It does work, you know. So I've made up my mind. I will not stop, never stop, to make sure that the Nigerian child gets the best that he can get.
Nigeria is introducing new vaccines, and these new vaccines come at an additional cost. This is one of the reasons why we have a funding gap. Again, as a result of our increased income status, we are transitioning out of Gavi support. This means that as Gavi funding goes down, the Nigerian government funding for immunization should go up to meet that gap. Immunization is not only beneficial for health, but it's also beneficial from an economic point of view. If you invest $1 in vaccination programs, you can reap $16 back. So this is really an exciting platform to join hands together to move our cause forward, to ensure that everywhere in Nigeria, every child has the opportunity to be protected from vaccine-preventable diseases.
Shekara biyar da ya wuce, kusan kullum yaro yana mutuwa a garin nan, kusan kullum. Amma yanzu shekara 3-2 zuwa yanzu mutuwan yayi sauki. Mutuwan yayi sauki kuma duk da saboda wannan immunization din ne.
Culture is something that you keep doing all the time. After a while, it becomes a part of you. Look at the culture of immunization today. It has become a culture. Before, they were not going for immunization. Now, you don't need to tell a woman in this village that once she gives birth, she needs to take the child for immunization. She can see the results of other people who have taken their children for immunization and how well they are doing. So before you even get to her, she's telling you, I need to go for immunization. If she needs money for transport, she can now say, Madam, please give me money for transport. I want to take my child for immunization on Monday. They even know when you have BCG, pentavalent, polio, they know the days. So it has become a culture. That is how far we have gone.
As Nigeria begins to experience a decrease in donor funding for vaccines, strong participation of civil society groups like WAVA becomes even more critical to address deep-rooted challenges from both the demand and the supply side of immunization, as well as to hold government accountable on producing a financial strategy that covers access, funding, and delivery of vaccines so that no child is left out of reach.